Coming up next on YoTV, we got Visual Elements.
We got Yo Thoughts talking with the pit bulls.
And we got travel stories from Nicaragua, Rwanda, and Vietnam.
Hey, welcome to another episode of YoTV Sunday morning. I'm Paul.
And I'm Ann.
And today we're live at San Antonio Park in the town, Oakland, for y'all that don't know.
YoTV comes from this beautiful magazine, Yo Youth Outlook, which helps to document the life of young Bay Area folks.
Oh boy.
Right now we're at San Antonio Park, like Paul said, and the next segment that you're going to watch took place here at the Malcolm X Jazz Festival. We're going to watch Visual Elements, which shows people how to do graffiti and all that cool stuff. So go ahead and check it out.
Peep.
Right now we're at the Malcolm X Jazz Festival in San Antonio Park, East Oakland, California.
So this is our 6th annual Malcolm X Jazz Arts Festival. It's free to the public. We don't promote it except in the community so that it stays community-based. You know, we don't want folks coming all the way from Berkeley with their lawn chairs or nothing like that. Like, it's for the folks.
My name is Josue Rojas. I'm 25 years old and I am the VE instructor. VE is short for Visual Element, and that's a branch of the Eastside Arts Alliance.
The workshops at Eastside Arts Alliance are free to local youth, so they just got to come and participate. For our class, sometimes there's a waiting list. Sometimes the class is full, so they'll have to sign up and wait till there's a spot available.
I've been with Visual Elements for since the year 2000.
I've been with Visual Element for about 6 months now.
I've been like for about a year.
I've been with Visual Element for a couple months.
What we do basically, it's like mural art, but it's more, all the paint is based like on aerosol technique and style. So it's a very urban culture. It's also a very California like visual language that we're dealing with.
I'm one of the founders of Visual Element, so it was just a little graffiti class. It was here in the East Bay. So along with Fabiana Rodriguez, we like really ramped it up as like a more serious graffiti curriculum.
So I got kids from ages about 13 is my youngest to somewhere around 20, 21. And we basically just tour the Bay and like just do some urban beautification.
And then we also give them a lot of political education so that they can speak on a whole array of stuff, you know.
Visual Element helps kids get the skills they need in order to express different issues that's going on in their community.
I'm fighting for our student rights, like for better education and better supplies.
I think it's like kids should just stand up for their rights, like mostly about education, because the governor is taking away everything.
It's primarily like for poor folks and people of color, that kind of thing. We're trying to give them a voice and empower them by controlling this form of media.
We're just trying to push the skills, you know, we just provide for them like just a platform to express themselves. So they got like not only a wall and a legal space to paint, but the best paint in the world. We get the Montanas and Beltons and, you know, give them the time and space to actually create. And every single time these guys have stepped up, they've represented. They've done something new. They've pushed themselves, style-wise, content-wise, and it's really just conscious, man. Every single time I'm amazed because they're getting better at a younger age.
That your skills get to come up. You come up with your skills. You paint a lot, so you get good automatically. That's the good thing about it.
Just knowing that by going to the classes and you just practicing on your sketch, that you can get better, and like they have the materials there for you, so it makes it easier for you to experience with different things.
How you get to go to class and sketch and get better, because I'm just new to it and I'm just getting to learn.
Because a lot of graffiti artists, they feel disconnected from society. You know, like, oh, I'm not a part of it, so I'm gonna go out and tag and make a name for myself, and you know, I don't have any responsibility or accountability. But in our workshop, we try to teach them like, yo, you're a voice for your people. You're a voice, you know, for your community. So you need to speak on stuff that's important to all of us.
All right, we're going to commercial break. YoTV will be right back. Y'all check these sponsors out. All right, next we're going to turn it over to our guest host for the day, Charles and Lil Charlie.
What's cracking? It's your boys, Big Charlie, Lil Charlie. We're here to talk to you about dog maulings this week, or rather pit bulls. There've been a lot of biting incidents recently in the media, and we just talked to some youngsters at City College to see what they had to say about it.
All right, my name is Antonio Baca. I'm here from San Francisco, age 24.
Okay, I'm Rajeshwari. I'm 18 years old and originally I'm from India.
My name is Tim and I'm 18 and I'm from San Francisco.
I'm Michael. I'm born and raised in San Francisco and I'm 18 years old.
My name is Lois Grace Castro Buenaflor. And yes, I went to my prom in high school. Do I think pit bulls are vicious animals? I'm not a dog expert, but I do like animals, so I couldn't tell you. I don't know what to say.
I think they have the potential to be dangerous, but you know, it's like anybody, you know, out here, any human you see has the potential to do you harm.
Depends. Depends on the owner. I mean, if there's like a whole bunch of pit bulls around me, hell yeah, I'm gonna be scared of them.
Well, I'm not sure because I've never really had an experience with them, but I know some of the people who do have pit bull dogs, like one of my family friends who have pit bull dogs, and I don't really find them as dangerous as I've seen them.
I know my dog's not gonna bite anybody, you know, I knock on wood, but I pray my dog would never bite anybody, but when I take him out now, I feel like I need to have a muzzle on him just because. Just because. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people crossing the street when they see me. You know, I don't need other people grabbing their little children and pulling them. You know, that's sending the wrong message.
You know, I was gonna say last time I saw a pit bull, and it kind of looked like a greyhound, and I didn't see it maul anything.
Gavin Newsom, our mayor, is trying to put some sort of regulation on pit bull owners to the fact that where they gotta have their dogs neutered so they can't breed, and then also they need to pay a tax or some sort of insurance.
I think they shouldn't, but because dogs are just animals, you know? That's the problem. It's the way they're raising them, you know? If they weren't raised to be fighters, then they wouldn't be like that.
I feel that is reasonable. Some sort of insurance or some sort of class for people who want to own pit bulls, some sort of responsibility, you know, putting back on the owner. I feel that is warranted, but as far as having to neuter all your dogs and stuff like that, I don't feel that's right, you know.
I go to a gym where they have 2 pit bulls about this big, you know, fighting dogs. I know from experience, I know they fight, I've seen them, and they're missing ears and stuff, but they're the nicest dogs. There are around 30 some odd people in this gym every day, no leashes, no collars, nothing, walking around the gym. Everybody's petting them. Little kids come in like this big, little babies come in because their brother's signing up for the gym or something. The dog runs up, starts sniffing them, you know. People feeding it and stuff. They got bowls of water just sitting there. The nicest dogs you'll ever meet.
We'll be right back. That's what I just said. Coming up next on YoTV, we have a series of Global Eye segments for you. Global Eye is a national youth news feed organization where young people go out in around the world and tell the stories about other countries. Next, you're gonna check out Roy. He went to his homeland in Nicaragua. He went to this small area that was once all poor and now it's becoming commercialized, but people are still not making money. We went to go see his grandfather's grave and his cousin's graduation. So go ahead and check it out.
Oh boy.
Man, I'm hella high, literally. What you see down there is Nicaragua, my version of the motherland. Whenever I am in Tipitapa, this is the neighborhood where I stay at. All you see right now is dirt, but there's going to be a beautiful modern home standing right there pretty soon. Basically, whenever I come to Nicaragua, I will have a home to go to. This is the park that I always come to whenever I'm in Tipitapa. I can shoot some hoop, get a burger, an ice cream cone, or just post on one of the benches and watch the people that walk by. This is a trip. There's a Shell gasoline station and McDonald's, and right next to the McDonald's is a shack. For a minute, you thought we were in America, huh? But this image represents what's going on with Nicaragua. Despite a lot of investments, most people live in poverty, but every now and then you see people who must live a nice life by the looks of their car. Managua is really blowing up. The last time I came here, there were only 2 shopping centers. Now, they've recently completed a brand new shopping center with a large variety of department stores that sold a lot of the brands we find here in America. Tommy, NYC, Polo, and Armani. And all the prices were in dollars, and many more shopping centers were under construction. Unfortunately, despite all the new shopping centers that are being built, only a small percentage of the people who live in Nicaragua can actually afford to buy these things. Welcome to Masaya, the place to go for authentic Nicaragüense souvenirs. Unfortunately, these kids are forced to sell lotto tickets instead of going to school because their family is poor. We're standing right in front of the Crown Plaza Hotel in Managua, Nicaragua to witness my cousin Augusto Hodgson graduate from medical school. My cousin used to live in the US, but he and his family got deported back to Nicaragua about 10 years ago. He didn't let that get in the way of his drive to be successful in life, and today he's reached his moment.
Today's a big day for your son. What do you have to say?
Well, I thank the Lord that, well, work hard on it. Oh yeah, I really thank the Lord because, well, there is a doctor in the family.
Thanks to Augusto, I came back to the US with a renewed energy to get my schooling done too. Bluefields is on the other side of the country on the Atlantic coast. It's an island within Nicaragua that you can only get to by going on a plane or on a speedboat. As you arrive to Bluefields, you will see a sign that says, "Welcome to Bluefields, Terminal to the Caribbean." Even though Bluefields is like any other town in Nicaragua, it's unique because most of the town is made up of darker skinned Nicaraguenses, and most of the people here speak more English than they do Spanish. Bluefields is not a huge island. Many of the residents of Bluefields don't even own cars because it only costs 5 cordovas per person to go anywhere in the island in a taxi. Bluefields is special to me because that's where my grandpa is resting in peace, and I also have a lot of relatives there that I knew and didn't know I had, as is the case with almost everywhere else in Nicaragua that I go to. When I grow old and have saved up enough money, I'm going to go live in Nicaragua and travel back and forth because thanks to my dad's family, they have shown me that the quality of life over there can be just as good as the life one lives in the US.
All right, next we got Diana Tran. She went to Vietnam for the first time. She got to spend a lot of time with her brother that she doesn't usually get to spend a lot of time with. They were out there drinking eggnog coffee and whatnot. Check it out.
My name's Diana. I'm 21 years old and I am from Oakland, California. For 3 weeks, I woke up to a glass of homemade tamarind lemonade. My aunt, one of 12 in my mom's family, would wink and nudge me to drink on. I'd smile and thank her, all while being overwhelmed by a family and a place that I was just now being introduced to. Vietnam? Am I really here? See, I've never woken up to my aunt's smiling face, and I never knew what it would be like to visit a place my parents called home, but ran from to seek refuge over 30 years ago. While living in America all my life, I wonder how it would be to have real cousins. As I gulped down the tamarind lemonade, watching all my aunts and uncles gather on the floor to eat chicken feet and fish soup, I knew it was time to stop questioning it. For the first time in 20 years, I was in Vietnam, spending evenings with my real cousins. Every day was a learning experience. I spent a lot of time on a motorbike tour through the bustling streets of Saigon, catching up with my brother over a glass of egg coffee in Hanoi, picking up bootlegs, destroying mosquitoes, and hitting up the squatters after every meal. But nothing was more rewarding than spending time with my family, doing nothing more than just hanging out in the living room. Even though I had just met them, their energy, their stories, everything brought me closer to an understanding why I am so fortunate to be where I am today. In just 3 weeks, I experienced the time of my life. Now that I'm back home in the Bay, I feel out of place, yet inspired to make more visits back home. Because it's true, home is where the heart is, and Vietnam has definitely given me so much.
Hey you,
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Check out the website, www.youthoutlook.org. Oh boy, on.
All right, coming up next for you on YoTV, we have a personal experience. Paul went to Africa, and he's going to tell you about his experience.
Yeah, man, I went to Rwanda in Africa. There was a genocide about 10 years or so ago, and now I went over there, and they seem to be progressing quite nicely, and it changed the way I look at a lot of things in life. So check it out. Going to Africa was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences I've ever had, to say the least. So imagine if 10 years ago in 1994 or 1995, you witnessed every single person you knew, every single person you grew up with, and every single person you went to school with killed right in front of your face. Well, in Rwanda, Africa, it wasn't their imagination. It actually happened, and like I said, it was in 1994. Even to me, as a young person, I remember 1994, you feel me? I remember what grade I was in, who I was hanging with, and the things I was doing. The funny thing is, I don't ever remember anybody mentioning the massive killing of 1 million people. There were 2 major tribes in Kigali, the capital of the country, Rwanda, in the continent of Africa. The Mahutus and the Mututsis, respectively called for short the Hutus and the Tutsis. The Hutus making up roughly 75% or so of the population, and the Tutsis were about 15%. Everyone, for the most part, was Catholic as a result of Belgian colonization, and schooling is also done in French and English. Now, it was told to me that the Hutus were actually in power. They were the majority and the Tutsis the minorities. But they were on a socio-economic class system, and the Tutsis were at the bottom of the pyramid. There was a Hutu president in place on April 6, 1994 in Rwanda when his plane was shot down out of the sky right above Kigali airport. An hour later, it began. There were orders from several major Rwandan government officials to begin killing off the Tutsis everywhere. There were broadcasts on the radio and television describing the different physical features of Tutsis in order to identify them to be massacred. The military took to the streets, killing Tutsis at every turn. They killed men, they killed women, and they killed children of all ages. People and memorials tell you of stories of 2-year-old children that were smashed against walls in order not to waste any bullets. They tell stories of little 10-year-old girls hiding under churches filled with hundreds of dead bodies. When it was over, they came from under the bodies, only to find that maggots were eating them as if they were dead, but they actually survived. Women and children's legs were cut off at the thighs, fingers were cut off, children raped, as well as women and other men. Known HIV carriers were permitted to have their way with anyone of Tutsi descent. It lasted for a total of 100 days, and 1 million people were killed in the genocide. While we were out there, my brother got food poisoning, and we went to a clinic to get him treated. We asked the doctor about the genocide and what his experience was. He told us that when they came to his village, he grabbed his diploma and his wife and children and bounced. He later returned to his village a few years later, only to find that everyone he ever knew was dead. Everyone he went to school with, everyone he knew in the streets, every neighbor, every family friend, family member, everyone. There were so many stories much like this one. A woman told me she was 17 when it happened. She watched as they killed 6 of her brothers and sisters, and then her parents. Though she lived, I was thinking that I wouldn't be able to. But don't get it twisted. You wouldn't know it happened by just looking at people. They would have to tell you. They'd have to go into intricate detail with their stories. They seem so happy and content with the fact that they're still alive and kicking. I don't want to talk about the genocide that much anymore. I want to tell you how it affected my life as a young black man from this side of the map. It was crazy to me. I didn't know that much about it until I was going to Rwanda. Then I began to learn, but even that isn't enough. Hearing it from the mouth of someone that went through it is deep. Seeing the scars on their arms, legs, and heads tell the real story. It was also admirable that they had survived through it all and still had so much more faith in themselves and God than I did. I thought I had been done wrong in my life. I used to think it was oh so terrible to get my ass whipped or harassed by the police. But they aren't butchering me. And even if they wanted to, there are laws and rights in place to prevent such a thing. They didn't have that luxury. Their actual government betrayed them. Africans killing Africans. It just puts a whole different meaning on the phrase black on black crime to me. I will never forget Rwanda or the people I met while I was there. To be so strong and secure in a place of such poverty is very commendable to me. When I got back, I gave up a few things in my life. I stopped smoking and drinking like that. I don't give a damn about any black anymore. I mean, I wasn't really that person before I went, but the ignorance was and still is, you know, in my brain, in my mind. All I can do is try to be a better person for myself. And reality is, it's up to people like me who actually had the privilege of going out there to spread the message of peace over here in our own home. Like they say, it ain't easy. But we're so lucky to have the luxuries in life that we take for granted. So in the big picture, it ain't that hard either.
All right, that's it for the show today. I hope y'all tune in next week at 7 a.m. Set your clock for 6:57.
If you can't wait that long, go ahead and check us out at youthoutlook.org, or you can email us at yotv@youthoutlook.org.
And if you can't wake up early enough to peep it, man, TiVo, it's worth watching.
Or catch us uncensored on Channel 29 in San Francisco, the third Tuesday of every month at 8 p.m.
With the boop and boop and boop boop boop.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Crank with your cousin.
Oh.
All right, come on.
He's like, that's hella far.
A lot of youngsters talk about it. Like to hear it, here go.
All right, next is my piece on Rwanda. I went to Africa, Rwanda.